Welcome back to Billionaire Success Lessons. Today, we are telling the story of a man who did not build his fortune by becoming the loudest person in the room. He did not rise because he chased cameras, performed for headlines, or tried to turn himself into a spectacle. He rose because he helped build one of the most important industrial engines of the modern electric age. This is the story of Huang Shilin, a quiet but powerful figure behind CATL, a company that helped change the global battery industry and reshape the future of electric vehicles. His public profile has long been tied to CATL as a former vice chairman and major shareholder, while the company itself has grown into a global force in zero-carbon energy technology. And what makes his story so meaningful is not just the billions. It is the kind of road he walked to get there. A technical road, a patient road, a road where progress had to be earned through engineering, manufacturing, discipline, and years of work in a field where results cannot be faked. Batteries do not care about slogans. Chemistry does not reward ego. Industrial systems do not bend just because someone wants success badly enough. They only respond to competence, endurance, and relentless improvement. Huang Shilin was born in 1967, and Bloomberg says he graduated from Hefei University of Technology. That may sound like a simple detail, but in stories like this, education is not just background. It is a clue. It tells you what kind of success story you are entering. This is not the story of someone who stumbled into wealth by accident. This is a story of someone shaped by engineering, by technical thinking, by the habit of solving real problems instead of simply talking about them. That is where the first lesson begins. Success does not always start with visibility. Sometimes it starts with depth. Sometimes it begins with a person who learns something difficult so well that one day the world has to notice the value hidden inside that knowledge. Many people want a glamorous path. They want to start in fields that already feel exciting. But Huang Shilin's story points in another direction. It suggests that enormous influence can come from mastering what most outsiders barely understand. And that matters because we live in a time when many people confuse attention with power. They think being seen is the same as being important. But the truth is often the opposite. Some of the most important people in the world are building systems the rest of the world relies on without ever knowing their names. That is the kind of story this is. By the time CATL was founded, Huang Shilin was already deeply tied to the battery world. Reuters described him as CATL's vice chairman and deputy general manager before his 2022 departure. And multiple public profiles connect his fortune directly to CATL's rise as a battery giant. CATL's prospectus also identifies him as a company promoter and shows he remained one of its major shareholders. This matters because it tells us that Huang was not standing on the edge of the story. He was inside it. He was one of the people closest to the machinery that made CATL what it became. CATL says it was founded in 2011, at a time when the electric vehicle future still felt uncertain to many people. Today, it is easy to look back and say the battery industry was obviously going to matter. But that is hindsight speaking. In real time, the future is never so clear. In real time, big transitions look expansive, risky, and full of doubt. In real time, you do not yet know whether the world will reward your conviction or punish it. CATL's official profile says it grew into a global leader in zero-carbon new energy technology. But in the beginning it was still just a company stepping into a brutal and highly competitive industrial race. And that is another lesson worth holding on to. Great builders often enter the future before it feels comfortable. They act before consensus. They work before applause. They commit before certainty. That kind of decision separates people who merely follow change from people who help create it. Batteries may look like components to the outside world, but inside modern industry they are much more than that. They are leverage. They are infrastructure. They are the hidden center of electric mobility, energy, storage, and an enormous part of the world's industrial transition. The people who understand that early are not just making products. They are helping decide what kind of future becomes possible. Huang Shilin appears to have been one of those people. And this is why his story goes beyond wealth. Because wealth is only the visible outcome. The deeper story is about understanding where the real power of the future would live. Not in appearances, not in noise, but in the core systems that would drive the next industrial era. CATL's rise was not built on wishful thinking. It was built on manufacturing, technical execution, partnerships, and scale. Reuters described CATL as the world's largest battery maker, with clients including companies such as Tesla and Volkswagen. CATL's own 2025 annual report summary says revenue reached RMB 423.7 battery sales rose to 661 gigawatt-hour, and the company maintained the world's largest power battery market share for the 9th consecutive year, while also leading global energy storage battery shipments for the 5th consecutive year. That is not a lifestyle brand. That is industrial dominance. Think about what that means. a company founded in 2011 became one of the defining manufacturers of the electric age. It did not merely join a trend. It became one of the companies helping power the trend itself. It built the cells, systems, and scale that made electrification more real, more affordable, and more widespread. That does not happen because a founder or executive knows how to speak well on stage. It happens because the people at the core of the business know how to make difficult things work. In the real world, and that is where someone like Huang Shilin becomes so interesting. He represents a kind of success many people overlook. Quiet success. Technical success. Structural success. The kind of success built not through constant but through long years of operating close to the heart of a difficult industry. A lot of people can describe a future. Far fewer can engineer it. A lot of people can attract attention. Far fewer can build capacity. A lot of people can make noise around innovation. Far fewer can stay with the hard, repetitive, detail-heavy work required to make innovation actually function at scale. That is why Huang Shilin's path matters so much. It reminds us that the world is often changed not only by visionaries who speak, but by technical builders who stay close to the hard problems long enough to solve them. CATL's prospectus gives another revealing detail. It shows that before its Hong Kong listing in 2025, Huang Shilin was still one of the company's largest shareholders, with a stake of about 10.66% before the offering assumptions shown there, second only to the stake tied to founder Robin Zeng. The same prospectus notes that Huang had resigned as an executive director on August 1, 2022. Reuters reported the same year that he left the battery maker to explore business opportunities elsewhere, while CATL said he would continue promoting the development of the new energy industry in areas that might have synergies with CATL. That detail matters more than it may seem, because it tells us something emotionally important about success. Some people build one thing and cling to the role forever. Others help build something so strong that they can step away from daily management and still remain part of the legacy. That takes maturity. It takes a founder-type mind to help create a giant. But it takes a different kind of confidence to know your contribution is real even when you are no longer in the center chair every day. And maybe that is one of the most overlooked signs of true strength. The ability to move from direct control to lasting influence. There is dignity in that. A lot of dignity. Huang Shilin's story also highlights another truth that many people need to hear. You do not need to be the face of the company to be one of the people who changed its destiny. Modern culture likes simple hero stuff. It likes to act as if one company equals one famous person. But real companies, especially the powerful ones, are almost always built by teams of people with different strengths. One person may carry the external vision. Another may carry the technical spine. Another may carry operations. Another may carry capital discipline. Another may carry culture. The strongest companies are usually not built by one personality. They are built by complementary strict. That is why people like Huang Shilin matter. They remind us that there is room in history for the engineer, room for the systems thinker, room for the person whose contribution is enormous, even if their celebrity is smaller. And that should encourage a lot of people who watch stories like this and quietly wonder whether they are too reserved, too technical, or too invisible to build something meaningful. The answer is no. You do not need to be loud to become powerful. You do not need to dominate attention to create massive value. You do not need to fit the stereotype of a charismatic billionaire founder to help build an empire. Sometimes the quiet builder is the one holding the whole machine together. There is another powerful lesson in Huang Shilin's journey: the value of long-term alignment with a real industrial shift. When people chase trends, they often move too quickly from one thing to the next. They want immediate payoff. They want to catch heat, not build depth. But the people who become truly formidable often do something else. They stay close to a hard field long enough for compounding to happen. And compounding is a beautiful thing. Knowledge compounds, experience compounds, process compounds, judgment compounds, relationships compound, industrial capacity compounds. At first, compounding looks small, then one day it looks unstoppable. That is how fields like batteries work. Nobody becomes dominant there by accident. You need years of learning, years of solving, years of adjusting, years of surviving the hard middle before the outside world finally starts calling you inevitable. But inevitability is just hindsight with perfect timing. In real time, there are always doubts. In real time, there are always risks. In real time, the people inside the company are the ones carrying the burden, while the crowd is still unsure. And that burden is part of what made Huang Shilin's success costly and meaningful. Because the battery business is not easy. It is technically demanding. It is exposed to market cycles, customer pressure, geopolitical risk, supply chain stress, price compression, and the constant expectation that products must improve while costs keep falling. This is one of the hardest industrial games in the world. That is why success in such a field deserves deep respect. CATL's 2025 annual report summary says, the company is not only strong in EV batteries but also in energy storage, where it led global shipments again. That suggests the company was not simply reacting to one market. It was widening into a broader energy future. That is exactly what strong industry leaders do. They do not only defend yesterday's biz, they extend into tomorrow's relevance before they are forced to. And this is where Huang Shilin's story becomes universal. Because even if someone watching this knows nothing about batteries, China, or CATL, the deeper message still matters. Master something hard. Stay with it. Build in a field where results are real. Let compounding work in your favor. And do not let the world's obsession with noise trick you into undervaluing substance. That is how durable success is built. For anyone listening today on Billionaire Success Lessons, there is something almost comforting about a story like this. It says the quiet ones still have a path. The technical ones still have a path. The people who are better at solving than performing still have a path. Not every giant future belongs to the most visible person. Some belong to the people who can stay close to difficult reality without looking away. That is what makes Huang Shilin's rise so compelling. He was tied to one of the biggest industrial transitions of the century. He helped build inside one of the world's most important battery companies. He stayed close enough to the core of the industry that his wealth rose with the scale of a real technological revolution. And he did it in a way that reminds us that success can be quiet, serious, and deeply earned. So when you think about Huang Shilin, do not just think about rankings, stake values, or headlines about billionaire wealth. Think about the young engineer in China studying how things work. Think about the technical mind that moved into one of the world's hardest industrial arenas. Think about the early CATL years, when the electric future still felt uncertain. Think about the burden of building batteries at scale while the entire industry was racing forward. Think about the long years of staying close to the hard problems. Think about the former vice chairman whose influence remains tied to what CATL became. That is the story of Huang Shilin. Not just a story of billions. A story of engineering. A story of patience. A story of industrial conviction. A story of quiet power. And a story of proving that some of the most important people in the world are the ones strong enough to build the future without constantly demanding applause.